information security. I would like to invite all the participants to actually discussing these questions. Firstly, I would like to invite the organizer of this panel discussion, the director and manager for public sector, Pavel Plotnikov from Innostage. Our next speaker will be the chairman of the Federal Methodology Department of the Ministry of Education, Evgeny Belov. Also, today, we have our participants, deputy heads of education departments of Lipetsk Oblast, Nadezhda Kalinina. Among the participants, we also have a representative of the Murmansk Oblast, deputy head of the Information Technology Center, Sergey Kudinov. Of course, Nizhny Novgorod Oblast, Neimark, advisor to the governor of the oblast, Valery Cherepennikov. Our next speaker will, of course, be Nina Shipkova, head of Cybersecurity Department at Innostage. She'll be addressing technology-related and educational trends in our company. The Dean of IT Department at the Moscow Vita University, Sergey Sytin. Also, I would like to invite the Executive Director of IT and AI Department at the Sirius University, Mikhail Shiryaev, and also a representative of the company that organized this whole event. Great job, guys. We've never had an event like this. Head of University Outreach Program, Military Technology. So all the speakers are here. I'm looking forward to an exciting discussion. Of course, we'll be waiting for questions from the viewers. And I pass the floor to Pavel Plotnikov. Thank you, Sergey. Colleagues, you know, I wasn't really requesting to be nominated the moderator, but when they offered that to me, I went over to the internet and noticed that the word talent is perhaps mentioned more often than any other term. The first 20 links returned in search were devoted to the intervention of the President of Russia. And it's especially applicable to IT and information security because so much has been said that all the talents has been drained from Russia. But judging by the attendance of this event, which really supports its name as a festival, you come to understand that it's absolutely not true. And so I thought, what are you going to do? You need professional talent. It's not like you can, mint them overnight. So what needs to be done? Firstly, to educate students, yes. But these professionals will become ready in 4 or 5 years from now. And this under the condition that they already start working in the real world before they graduate. What else can be done? Additional vocational training is an option. You can retrain, you can add competence, but that will also have a lead time of at least 6 months or a year or even longer. There's also an option of just raising the competencies of professionals who are already working so that people should faster get the track from juniors to mids and then to seniors. Perhaps this is also one of the ways. But yet, I believe that a systemic approach should be applied to these questions, so that the government should get involved, leading universities should get involved. And I would like to give the floor to Andrei. Maybe he will share what our regulator is offering, what the Ministry of Education is offering. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, dear friends. My colleague was very right, saying that the word talent is one of the most important and frequently encountered words. And now this motto of talent decides everything that was coined many decades ago. It is as relevant to this day and age as one can imagine. So I've been working in this area for many years. So what's the situation now in the area of information security? Firstly, the professional level of our specialists is quite high. This assessment has been given by the President of the Russian Federation, and this is really so. As the special military operation started, a war was declared on our country, and the number of attacks on the information infrastructure, critical information infrastructure, grew up exponentially, but it stood firm and survived, which means that those solutions that have been developed by our domestic companies and the professionals that got their training in our universities and colleges were able to stand off the attacks from all over the world. And in fact, railroads continued to operate, the banks were operating, and all other critical infrastructure worked as usual. So what can we say about the system? In the higher education system, there are about 140 universities that teach in information security. As to the duration of learning, the bachelor degree 4 years, master degree 2 years, and integrated circuit takes 5 to 7 years. So there are about 170 colleges with 2 specialities. So quite a large educational infrastructure. The key numbers for attendance, enrollment of the system are quite high. And every time 200, 300, 500 is the number, is the growth in number. And I will tell you that we are the most advanced area where the enrollment is growing, plus commercial institutions. More than 10,000 specialists with higher education, more than 2,000 specialists with medium professional education are entering the job market. The problems? Well, the problems are quite common and easy to understand. In the first place, we believe there are 2 that are the most important. Firstly, about the faculty in the professional education system. This is an important problem, and another important problem is about material enablement of our educational organizations. So what are the reasons? What are the factors that affect this? I'm sorry. Is it my introduction or my presentation? I forgot that I was only supposed to welcome you, and I started to make a whole presentation. So maybe this is going to be the easier way to get everyone immersed into the subject. And then I'll surrender the microphone to the colleagues. You know, a graduate, an average graduate, just after graduation earns more than the head of department in the university. You are all aware of the average salaries of teachers and professors. the information security graduates, they sometimes go to work according to their specialty. Sometimes they go for IT because the training is quite broad, and so they have enough knowledge to claim a good job. So graduates of universities or representatives of the industry. And by the way, the other way around, they don't go to teach other students. And what's the reason? You can give an answer yourselves. So it's become number one, the problem of retaining presentation. Good educators, good teachers. We are devising all sorts of approaches, also trying to get some government support for salaries being raised. Of course, we work with commercial companies, calling on them to also contribute. And a lot of colleagues really respond and go to teach, not even asking for a money remuneration, but just out of the understanding. Also, all these test benches and educational environments, the equipment, is also something that costs a lot of money. But of course, there are other solutions. There are decisions that can be made, and you're aware of them. Maybe we'll be able to arrive at some new ways to help us achieve that, including new ways to work with students, organizing the specialized departments, or coming into collaboration with industrial enterprises. Otherwise, it's all developing quite well. Students are outstanding. Quite recently, we took part in a competition. 102 students from 60 universities from Kaliningrad to Vladivostok came to the boot camp. We went to a boot camp in the Tver Oblast, and there we had this power storm of brainstorming going on for several days. And students were showing great achievement. So I think the system is quite good, actually, and we'll be happy if we are able to arrive at some new projects or to get some new ideas from you to improve the quality of talent in our country even more. Thank you. Well, I'll try to respond to the question that was asked. What kind of approaches are there to make the process less expensive, to make the infrastructure less expensive? We'll look at the different practical approaches that are available. But let's start with a perspective of our representatives from the territories, from the subjects of Federation. Nadezhda, how are things with talent in the Lipetsk Oblast? Do you have enough? Of course, there's a shortage. Of course, even though we're just 450 kilometers from Moscow, and the churn, the migration of specialists, not only in IT, but not only in information security, is quite high. But for us, as a government body, we managed to put the situation under control. We created a department of developers in our organization, involving now 42 people working for the needs of government bodies. So they're creating products to address our current needs, objectives. So whatever can be done with their hands and minds, we're trying to do that with their help. We managed to approve the coefficients to raise their salaries, perhaps not bringing them to the Moscow levels, but at least they're now close to the market. The team has been in existence for 8 years. Of course, part of the people migrated to Moscow, but quite a lot of them stayed in Lipetsk. We invest a lot in their education, their training. We don't refuse them anything. We always welcome them taking part in any educational program. Of course, there's a risk that after having been trained and understanding that every person wishes to do better for themselves, we try to stop them by contractual conditions to spend a certain number of years on a job with us. Also, we recently started collaboration with local universities. In one university, we have an information security curriculum deployed as a separate line, a separate learning track, and we understand that there's a real shortage of such professionals. We have a person on staff who is involved in this 24/7, who responds to all the critical things that are happening around us. And the second thing is that based on the technical university, we, with the help of partners, created the so-called demo exam. There are two lines there. One is for the infrastructure. So, for instance, how to splice the A fiber. Just very basic. So the students go through this process all the way to their nuts and bolts, all the way to how to build network architecture, how to set up routers. This is just a test. And the second story is for developers, but it's also a bit simplified, how to write backend for any workload that you need to implement. So based on these exams, we understand whom of the students we can take on, either to become part of our developer team or in like an organization that we depend on, so that we could improve their training, turning them into a real professional. And another story that we're involved with is about the programming school that we're setting up in Lipetsk Oblast. It will have a capacity of 200 students who will be getting experience there around the clock and throughout the year on different programs, including information security. And we're hoping to turn it into a base school for the Central Federal District. And we're hoping to attract IT people and developers from the neighboring regions and information security specialists as well. Thank you very much. As I understood, that apart from the tactic, let's bring up a monster in our own team, you still try to get students from wherever you can lay your hands on. So when do you start? So starting from the first year, because if you start from the year 4 or 5, you'll find that they've already working for somebody in Moscow. So in fact, we're fine. We feel fine investing into people, bringing them up, and we even like this process. Of course, yes, it takes a lot of effort, and yes, sometimes you are knocking on a closed door, and in order to get it open and find a person, you need to apply a lot of effort. Okay, got you. Very exciting. So it's 400 kilometers from Moscow, right? Sergey, Murmansk is a bit farther away. How is it about your area? Thank you, colleagues. Yes, indeed. Murmansk is indeed much farther from Moscow. And as I was listening to the presentation of Nadezhda, my colleague, I understood that our problems are different. You're saying that you have 450 kilometers from Moscow. So actually, your conditions are much more comfortable. People don't need to move to Moscow. They can live where they have and get good salaries. Our story is quite different. The climate in Murmansk is quite hard. It's subarctic. We are beyond the polar circle. And of course, the country has a lot of challenges for this area, such as northern marine path. But as to professionals, the situation is quite acute for us. It's very difficult for us to keep people with us, in particular because of the climate conditions. Of course, there's a whole program to retain specialists in the north that applies not only to IT people, but also to all other specialists, such as teachers, doctors, and such like. But I am most interested in the IT sector. My colleague have mentioned a problem with the faculty. So we have I'm talking about the Arctic University, and even though we have a problem with the budgets, so we can't afford very expensive equipment, but we've turned to business. For instance, to our partners from Innostage, how they approach experience-based education, so that a local business could get ready-made specialists immediately after graduation. We also want to go this way. We're now looking at how it can be done in our reality. We're discussing this with regulators and universities. But of course, the percentage of students leaving the region, in our case, will be much higher than another region. So we've looked around and we thought that we should be focusing on the specialists and professionals who are already in the market, because they're already settled, they have their families, homes, and they have less incentive to go somewhere else. So we're looking at two tracks: to create a competence center for cybersecurity and cyber resilience. We are now in the consultation phase. And the second direction is that based on the university, by the way, the college works quite well, we are going to develop student disciplines and areas of focus. For instance, this year, for the first time, we were able to put together a team of students and send them to the all-Russian cyber battle. We're hoping that they do good in this battle. Of course, we're not hoping for winner places, but still, we think it's a great opportunity both for the students, a big, memorable event in their lives, to take part in such a high-level contest. And we believe that this will come as an incentive for themselves and the college students to be involved in this area. Also, we perhaps have higher up competences in marine professions, but because the IT industry is penetrating our life, we also need to have enough professionals in this area. So if somebody wants to try and work in an exciting and unique region, we'll be happy to consider candidates. We have a demand for that. So I think we're going to continue working with business. And here I would like to say thank you to Innostage because it's supporting us with methodology and some practical things. And without you, dear colleagues, perhaps we wouldn't have been able to take part in this cyber battle. So separate thank you goes to you. But if some of you want to take a look at the Russia you don't know, so working beyond the Arctic Circle will support it. Yes, thank you very much. I once visited Murmansk, not really a long time ago, but it was still winter. It is still there, but that is bad advertising. Okay, thank you for the words of gratitude. And in fact, I suggest that we now hear how it all looked in the beginning, and I invite Nina Shipkova to share with us how this project appeared in Tatarstan and what it has evolved into. Thank you, dear colleagues. I'm very happy that we have so many speakers, so I'm not going to take a lot of your time. I'll be quite brief. I usually start with prerequisites, but the previous speakers have described quite comprehensively about what's happening in the area of information security education, so I'm not going to dwell on that in detail. Yes, indeed, talent is everything for us. And secondly, Innostage is concerned by the fact that among the expert community, it looks like it hasn't seen a comprehensive solution for university outreach that would cover all the universities. So there are point projects, joint labs, but they don't form a system. So after analyzing all this, Innostage arrived at the understanding that one needs to offer a comprehensive solution that would cover all areas, working with the faculty, knowledge transfer to the teachers, developing the mentor and tutor approaches, creating an ecosystem of labs for universities so that they could exchange information security and knowledge, allow experts to transfer the knowledge and experience directly, and to teach the existing specialists. So we arrived at an understanding that we need to build a learning and training complex to counter cyber threats. A student SOC, in a way, consisting of a learning and training platform, programs or curricula, and information security contests such as cyber battles. We had quite a positive experience in the implementations in Tatarstan, based on 4 universities. We put together such as inter-university SOC based on Technology University, Innopolis, and another 2 universities where the guys got an opportunity of going through the curricula and then defend their own university with their own on their own. So Innostage was acting here as a mentor or as the source of expertise and skills. So some brief information. We indeed had a lot of learning hours, and now the centers are functioning successfully. And of course, we would like to scale up this experience looking forward. We are indeed scaling up to Nizhny Novgorod already, and I think it will be mentioned a little bit later. But apart from the student SOC as a large project, I would like to mention the student cyber battles. The first student cyber battle was organized in Kazan in September last year. Right now, the second student cyber battle is happening together with the adult cyber battle right on the standoff arena. We created it together with our partners from Positive Technologies. It involves the blue and red team. The attacking team includes 13 teams from all over Russia. Of the defender programs, there are 8 teams representing Murmansk area, Nizhny Novgorod Novgorod area, Yaroslavl, Tatarstan, Moscow, Amur region. So we tried to cover, to include as many teams as possible. But we didn't just invite them to attend. We ran an intense learning program for them. So our mentors invited them to the learning facility and told them how to investigate attacks from start to finish, how to identify, detect this attack, how to unravel it, and how to understand what kind of traces the wrongdoer has left in the system. So I invite everyone to take a look at how this battle is happening tomorrow on the 25th of May. The winners will be awarded in the Sputnik room. The guys are already showing very good results, so we're hoping that they will continue likewise, and tomorrow we'll offer them prizes and monetary remuneration. So that brings me to the end, and I'm passing the floor to the next speaker. Thank you, Nina. I only have one question for you. Look, a lot is now being said about practice-based, experience-based learning. What's the total number of students passed through the 4 universities you mentioned? More than 150 students. We were also training educators together with students. How many of the students got salaries higher than their teachers? Well, there's no statistic about that. Okay, I'll ask in a different way. How many of these 150 people already have jobs, or actually more than 50%, that for sure. More than that, I would like to say that we were not thinking about hiring these people for ourselves. Our goal was to get the market saturated with specialists, but not being too modest, we can say that some guys, after this training in the student SOC, got a job in our SOC, and more than that, they're already mentors in the cyber battle that's running as we speak. They're already passing their experience and knowledge to new teams. Thank you. So it appears that the effectiveness is more than 50%. It's not too bad. Thank you very much. Okay, let's now think about how this experience is perceived by those people whom we are inviting to join this program. Valery, you're one of the supporters of all these activities of the program in the Nizhny Novgorod Oblast. Perhaps one should have gone through, dozens of, offices and to say a lot of persuasive words. But the question is about this. How's it going in your region? How this idea has been accepted? And what are you doing, at least at the level of the IT campus in Neimark, in this direction? Look, perhaps I'll start by saying that this is my first visit to Positive Hack Days. I was very eager to join this event. I've been hearing about this event, but unfortunately, over my career of more than 25 years, I've never been here. We are now running the SIPA conference in Nizhny Novgorod right now, so I was able to rip myself out of that event, and my experience, my impressions are really indelible based on what I've seen there. So you've really done a very cool job, guys, from Positive Technology. I was walking about here, and I thought I should bring my school kids from Nizhny Novgorod region so that they could just see. Because colleagues have already said, we're all competing for people, for talent. We start competing while they're still at school, and you need to show them how cool it is to be part of this all. It's one of the best events like this that I've ever seen. Let me say a few words about our project. Neimark IT Campus is part of the federal program of the Ministry of Education and Science. Well, everyone approaches this differently. In all regions, the situation is different. And in our case, it may look more positive because our IT labor market is quite strong. All the giants, both Russian and worldwide, who've stayed in the country, are represented in our region. So the competition for talent is very fierce. The salaries are closer to those in Moscow, and the gradient that was providing for the flow of people between regions, well, we perhaps started to suffer from it a little bit less now. And look, thing is that we are planning to build a world-class campus around this unified new university that's becoming partners with others. And on the one hand, we may feel a bit easier than others, but on the other hand, maybe it's more difficult. Why more difficult? Because we're building a lot of things from scratch. Easier because we have nothing to break. And so it's such a moment when you have asked yourselves all those infamous Russian questions of who, what, and why, and to try and find an answer to them. Actually, I agree with my colleagues in many aspects. Indeed, things related to experience-based learning are important, but I would like to raise quite an exciting subject. Information security, IT in general. Information security, I think, is a quintessence of knowledge that challenges classic education. It's an area that has completely grown out of practice, out of experience. It's new, and a lot of academic approaches that work in other areas don't work in this area at all. And in fact, it offers a lot of exciting opportunities related to its nature. Let me just give you one example. We are now putting education from bottom to top, or from top to bottom, based on that's experience-based. So I graduated from a radio technology department of Nizhny Novgorod University. But it can be characterized like this. We take the theoretical physics course of 10 books and learn a small fraction of each one. So when I look at the university, I see that not a lot has changed over the past 10 years. The humankind has worked out a huge body of knowledge over this time, but nothing has changed in the university. I just want to make sure that people should not lose interest. And when I said, so look, I came to the first-year students. So you come to a university as a first-year student, and they give you a course of mathematical calculus, and you say why, and they say don't think about why. You just learn this Darboux theorem. I'm not trying to say that you don't need to learn Darboux's theorem. It's just I didn't understand. I learned it, but I didn't understand why I needed to be done. And now we are doing it differently. Started to teach them cryptography. Start talking about elliptical curves, and then a student comes up and says, "And what's elliptical curves?" And then you smile from ear to ear and say, "Okay, and here we should recall Professor Weierstrass." So colleagues come to us with complaints about the shortage of professionals and resources. My answer to this question is quite simple. I say, just let's accept that digital economy is growing much faster than anything else in the world, and will always live in the situation of talent shortage. And in answer to your question, I mean, if you don't want to get drowned, you need to save yourself. So if you have a shortage of teachers, good teachers, you need to teach them yourselves. And let's take Mitmo, for instance, the Mitmo University. People come back. People take great pleasure coming back to their university to help the next generation when they already have good salaries, and they come back following the idea. It's the way they had been brought up, and this is what we want so our graduates to do, to help bringing up the growing generation. So these are the ideas that we are trying to implement. Thank you. But to be frank, perhaps in the role of the governor, advisor to the governor and the director of the campus, you are able to see a lot more because everybody comes to you with their requests, and then you can also explain to the head of region how it's going to be done. And it was just a joke, and now I'd like to Sergey Alexandrovich, who's representing the Vita University. It's a commercial university, but nevertheless, they're also actively working in that direction. So, Sergey, how does it work in your case? Dear colleagues, good afternoon. So, the problems and goals that have now been mentioned are very close to my heart. And I'd like to say that my university has been educating IT professionals for more than 20 years in applied information science. So we started with one profile, information science in economics. In 2019, we added another profile, so enterprise information systems. And starting in 2021, we added the AI data analysis profile. On the whole, the department is training specialists to develop, implement, and support enterprise information system, and maintaining communication with the employers and our graduates. We see that apart from the development and maintenance competencies, our graduates also need competences in information security as developers. And we've encountered this need, or run across this need, especially strongly in the past year or year and a half. In 2021, the professional standard 06032 was adopted for network security specialists, and we added a number of modules and disciplines into our curricula that allow building a competence on cybersecurity for developers. I'm talking about the cryptography and data security module and network security and security threats module. All told, as part of these modules, there are several disciplines, but so we allocate more than 1,200 hours. So this approach has allowed us to give an answer to employers' requests for such professionals being trained. I would like to emphasize that if we're talking about practical training, and it's practical training that most educational programs are focused on in our university, then it is planned in collaboration with Innostage to offer more than 750 hours on the cyber test bed. It's a platform to provide information security, specifically for our new track, digital enterprise cyber security. What will it give us? A very good set of skills for the needs in cybersecurity. It will offer students practical experience in using tools to counter cyber attacks. And based on this, we're also preparing a curricula on cybersecurity as an additional program that Innostage group has kindly helped us to configure. So this is a set of competencies that we can offer as part of our existing program. Colleagues, may I ask a question to the representatives of educational institutions? For us as employers, what we see is the following story. So, like a professional comes to us, a junior or middle level, they understand hardware and software, they have a lot of knowledge, but they have a big gap in legal knowledge. But these things are quite strongly connected, and there's a lot of regulation there. So the question is, how much time do you allocate to training these people about the current legislation, about the ways to interact with the regulators, to know the way to fill out the documentation properly? So do you train in those areas? In our educational curricula, we have a module called Legal Support for Information Digital System. There are 2 disciplines involved, and it's like 36 hours each, and they consider separate questions related to the legal support of most questions related to cybersecurity.
Сергей, ты получил ответ?
288 часов.
188 hours.
Ну, как говорится, это еще у нас будет повод обсудить.
Well, we'll have an opportunity to discuss this. And now I'm passing the floor to my colleagues from the Sirius University. Mikhail, how does it work with the development of education in IT and information security in your case? Well, thank you, firstly, for the opportunity to speak for such a highly represented audience. And to start with, I would like to expand the framework set by our moderator in the beginning. It's about training and retraining of professionals. I would bring this a bit more forward. I would cover the previous stage of education, high school. So look, the education of professionals in information security is not only important for IT, but for every industry that operates today. Financial services, mechanical engineering, and all the rest. The first conclusion that you can make from it is that we need to run a little bit ahead, and we need to start thinking about this as early as at the high school level. This is the point I would like to make in the first place. Sirius is not just a university, it's a whole ecosystem. You all know that this Talent and Success Foundation that formed the system, it includes the educational centers that process more than 10,000 best school kids in our country every year. It's one of the best IT colleges in the country, and of course it's the university itself that now trains specialists of a very high level, including master's degrees and postdoctoral. This year we're running a project which is quite exciting, and that's going to turn in a big piece of work. So we invite graduates of 9th year in school to the university. So before they graduate, what's the point? We try to identify talent, to detect talent, and invite the best people who have aptitude and desire to join this experimental IT curriculum so that they could make their talent available for practical experience, practical activities as early as possible. So this university curricula is designed in such a way that from the very first day, representatives and leading professionals from all the largest IT companies of Russia are involved in the training process. I think it's very important. From the very first day in the university, we have a practical track that goes through this program from day one all the way to graduation. Next thing, if we want to train specialists in information security competencies for different industries, it's very important to provide them the basic knowledge of mathematics in the first place. And Valery mentioned this, and I would fully support him, because without deep knowledge of mathematics, it is very difficult to sort out problems and questions that come up in different industries. And indeed, we structure our mathematics curricula in such a way that experts from companies explain where knowledge, mathematical knowledge, will come to play, will become important for students further on. An important aspect is about training the educators for schools and universities. I would note this as a separate problem that needs to be discussed. And in conclusion, I think maybe there'll be a bit more opportunity to come up with some other ideas. We have instructions from the president that we, with help of our methodology department people, so we drafted modules and curricula for information security, and we're going to offer them to train non-IT specialists, engineers, or maybe even people with humanities knowledge. Okay. Thank you very much. And indeed, if we are saying that even first-year students already start getting involved, then maybe it will make sense to say maybe we should start working with them even earlier in the 9th grade of the high schools. But people start showing inclination for IT even much earlier, maybe when they're as early as young as 6 to 7 years. We've only got like 5 minutes left. Of course, we can't do without a representative of the largest vendor and organizer of this event, Positive Technologies. So I suggest that Dmitry Fedorov takes the floor.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for the organization of this event. And recently, we discuss HR very often. Each month, we have an HR conference. Recently, we had one. In June, we'll have one more. And it's a very good trend that we can see. We often talk about that problem. Positive technologies analyze the HR market, and we see the gap between the demand and education that we have now. And the problems mentioned before are true, and I would like to speak about some of the possible solutions. Solutions that positive technologies implements right now, including this forum. Today we raised a lot of problems, we raised them at each and every conference. First is teachers, professors. What do we do? Last year, we organized a school for cybersecurity teachers. About 1,000 teachers enlisted. And we saw that there is an interest, there is demand, the teachers like it, they want it, and we're going to develop this project next academic year. The second issue was young people, pupils, students, their professional orientation. And tomorrow we shall have a huge youth day of positive technologies. It's organized specifically for young people, for students. We're going to talk about professions in cybersecurity, the professions that are really needed. We invited the people who work there, and they are going to talk to the students and speak about what they are doing right now. They share a real-life experience. Apart from tests, apart from competitions, the third problem mentioned is fast skills upgrade. University takes 4 to 5 years to teach a student. My professor was Peter Zigster, and he told us on September 1 what cybersecurity is, and I try to keep up with that level of professionalism. In universities, we sign partnership agreements and set up skills upgrade courses within the universities, in the areas which are in great demand in the market. SOC analysts, AppSec development, secure development, and engineering, security engineers. These are the areas that we really implement, that are working now. If you need details, I can tell you later after this event. Thank you. Thank you very much, colleagues. Well, honestly, when we planned this event, we thought about a Q&A session, but then I said, let us sit down and think it over. People start asking fast questions, why, how. We are practitioners, and we don't have much practice in the cybersecurity area. We listened about different approaches. Let's make a pause, and after some time, meet once again. And I think we're not going to tell you about problems, but we shall more take about what we're going to do. And at this point, we're not coming to an end yet. We have a couple of other events. Colleagues, today, within our round table, we plan signing of a number of agreements which confirm the right way that we have taken. And after a small break, we are going to announce the signature of those agreements. I would like to thank all the speakers. I heard a lot of interesting things, and honestly, this is very practical, truly practical and realistic. This is something we must implement. As one of the speakers said, it's not only for the students, not only student tracks, not only student courses, but we have to start even earlier. So,
Да, буквально 30 секунд
Well,
сейчас. Мы
half a
согласуем.
minute.
Да,
Please
Борис,
wait.
да, комментарий.
Yes, dear friends,
Эти вопросы мы рассматриваем на наших
we're
пленумах.
going to discuss it at the plenary meetings when we gather heads of departments of 130 universities. We're talking about preparation of specialists. We spend 3 days for that, not an hour, but 3 days where we raise and discuss all the problems. Not only discuss them, we find ways to solve them. All vulnerabilities are well known. All universities are working quite actively. Fundamentally practice-oriented universities is a good thing, but higher education is broader. We provide fundamental knowledge, helping students to work with cyber attacks, with SOCs, and with a lot of other segments of cybersecurity. When one person could prepare documents and do a lot of other things. So in order to submerge into that and develop standards, develop labs, on the 6th and 7th of June, we are going to have another big conference, a day and a half plus 1 day to develop a new model of higher education, preemptive model, on the basis of the Oil and Gas University on June 6 and 7. Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, since we are preparing the signature, I have a question to our educational colleagues. When I was a student, unfortunately, the training programs were changing very rarely. So we are talking about a very dynamic industry, and which was actual 2 years ago, today is obsolete sometimes. And, well, when a student goes to a classical university, he learns a lot of useful things, truly useful things, but I recall myself, I was taught about the things which lost its urgency already when I was a student. The symbiosis, the synergy of advanced companies and classical education may be the right way. Because not every university can get acquainted with up-to-date threats, and they lack time. How to change training programs? I can tell you from the very beginning, there are two things here. There is a federal part, there is a university part, and practice-oriented path. If basic competences, fundamental ones, some theorems are the same. Isaac Newton formulated them, and we're learning it. Starting from year 3, when specialization starts, each university presents its partners with whom they developed their program. No, first, for whom it developed the program, for the students to go this way. And how does he implement it, on what kind of hardware and software foundation? Some universities are better, some worse, but all of them have this approach. And you are quite right. And we're doing that, actually. But some universities are better. For example, Peter Zevzda is very strong. We have about a dozen other good universities, but in Murmansk you lack it, I know. It's difficult for you. We have in Lipetsk, they have a good university there, they found its niche, but Murmansk, unfortunately, lacks university education. It's St. Pete and Archangel. To Murmansk is a gap. We're ready for your help if you help us. Let me add a couple of words. It's a good philosophic question. There is a double approach, for example, how much fundamental knowledge, how much practice do we need? What is the balance? We know the risks. You can give excellent fundamental education, but the person cannot do anything with its hand. Or sometimes there are wooden soldiers who know how to press buttons, but when hardware changes, software changes, he had to be retrained each and every time. We have to be retrained. We are going to learn for the rest of our lives. That's sure. The university should provide a system of knowledge that would help a student after graduation to learn. A student should be taught to learn for the rest of his life. We talked to many universities. They say, what can we do? Every year we change our fundamental programs. We cut it, it's a pity, but the knowledge that humanity accumulated for the last 30 years is growing, but the time of learning is not growing as fast. So we have to cut off. And we know the risks. And every person tries to solve this problem on his or her own. I have a question. Maybe there is a question in the audience. No? No, I wanted to make it different. Well, anyway, any questions, please? I cannot hear the question. Sorry. Thank you. Thanks to positive technologies, this year I experimented with them in the school where we prepared the teachers. Where can other people train the professors, instruct the instructors? We had such project. We prepared a lot of teachers, efficiently or not efficiently, I don't know. And now the project is over. Where shall the teacher go? Good question. We're thinking about it. Yes, we have been doing it for 3 years and the project is over. It was quite positive, and I believe we're going to look at our developers, partners, to launch small courses with Infotech, with Echelon Crypto Pro, to launch such courses, short-term courses. First masterclass, then small training programs, because huge programs are difficult to implement. So this is, for the time being, our intentions. Then we intend to have another federal program to teach the teachers. One thing is a solution. Each company has its own solution, its own resources, but the graduate should be able to work with any resource. He should understand the fundamental physics of the process. Some things become old, some new systems appear, and he must be ready to cope with all that. We have leading professors. We have exchange of experience between universities. So that's what we have for the time being. For the future, yes, there are some proposals with government support to build federal centers in each federal district to raise the skills of teachers, but not earlier than in 2 to 3 years. Right now, short-term courses and conferences like this.
Спасибо.
Thank you.
Что ж,
Well,
я понимаю, что готово к
is
следующему
everything
отвечу.
ready for the next section?
Да.
Yes. Well,
Предлагается
now,
перейти, собственно, к нашей
let's
торжественной
pass
части.
over to
И,
our
хотел бы пригласить
uh,
проректора по развитию
next session,
университета имени
pro-rector
Ермолаева Владимира
of the Vita University, Mr. Yermolayev. You're welcome.
Ну и, конечно же, генерального
And
директора
General Director
компании
Innostage,
Innostage
Zaira Айдальфаилевич.
Давайте папочки.
So, the folders.
Символическое подписание. Да. Итак, сейчас подписывается соглашение.
We sign an agreement on cooperation between the Moscow University, named after Vita, and the Innostage company to set up the Student Cybersecurity Center.
Уважаемые коллеги,
Dear colleagues,
добрый путь.
welcome.
Спасибо.
Thank you.
Спасибо. И далее.
Next, let me break in and use the pause. Please don't go away. On behalf of the region, we would like to thank Innostage. So could you come to the podium, please? Welcome. So we are quite grateful to you for the organization and active contribution in the development of cybersecurity in your region. Thank you. Also, we would like to personally congratulate Pavel Viktorovich for his personal contribution for the Murmansk region to be part of this conference. Thank you very much. My personal thanks.
Не скажете несколько слов?
Are you going to say a few words about the company, about Innostage, how it works with the educational sector, and how this project, which is a social project, if you like, so you are ahead of the company. What do you think? Just a couple of words. Hi, everyone. Talking about our mission from the viewpoint of education, we realize that for us, education is building a new industry, cybersecurity industry in Russia. We believe that since we have experience and knowledge, we shouldn't keep it to ourselves. We started working with universities, and for us, hi, welcome. For us, it's truly a social mission which is aimed at not directly at business, but rather at making a nationwide project. We really want to develop our cyber academy and make it nationwide, a Russian inter-university community. In future, I think we're on the basis of that cyber academy, we're going to set up an international cluster where we could train our colleagues from other countries and spread our cybersecurity, competing with our geopolitical competitors. Thank you for your interest, thank you for your support, thank you for your participation in our activities. Thank you.
Просьба также.
So please, you are still here, and I would like to invite here Deputy Governor, Minister of Deputy Development of the Murmansk region, Yelena Semyonova. Dear colleagues, now we are going to sign agreement about cooperation between our company, Innostage, and administration of the Murmansk region, its Ministry of Digital Development.
Ручку, да, коллеги. Итак, соглашение подписано.
So, the agreement has been signed. Congratulations, colleagues.
Ну что ж,
Okay, so allow me to thank everyone for the very exciting and promising presentations for the interaction. But our networking is not at an end, so we can continue any discussions on the sidelines, and I'm hoping to see you all at our next event.